Suicide's not selfish, nor are the feelings that derive from the feeling of suicide. Um, Feeling depressed is not a choice. So, feeling suicidal isn't a choice. Therefore, how can it be selfish? I think there's a moral stance that most people use that suicide is this selfish thing and that we're selfish human beings for even considering it. I think that's not true at all. In fact, I'd argue that those that claim that suicide is a selfish act is within itself selfish, because what you're essentially saying is, I have no interest in trying to figure out or consider what you're going through. Instead, I'm going to guilt you into staying alive through no choice of your own. First of all, we don't have a choice to be alive, right? If you're born, you're born. You didn't ask to be born. I used to think this was kind of a stupid saying. I didn't ask to be born. I always thought that was a kind of a dumb quote to use. And I do still kind of think it's a dumb quote to use. I'm using it for lack of a better quote, I guess. And I'm not perfect, you know. My thinking and my mental framework isn't perfect either. I'm just as faulty and as flawed as anyone else, you know. But I think to claim that suicide is selfish and it is in itself is a selfish thing to say. Because like I said, you're essentially saying, I'm not going to consider what you're going through. I'm not going to consider your feelings. Instead, I'm going to make it about me. And one of the arguments I think that people use when they say that suicide is selfish is they use this argument of, well, it's a permanent problem. It's a permanent solution to a temporary problem, and you're leaving people behind to deal with the pain and the bereavement of your loss, of their loss, so to speak. And I get that, I understand that, but I truly believe that if people really cared about you, if people genuinely cared about you and cared about you when you were alive, then there wouldn't be no need for you to commit suicide. I think if you've got the right things in life, one of them being the right people around you that care about you and have that compassion, then there would be no need to end your life, because why would you, you know? And that, I might get some controversy with that. I might get people in the comments section saying, well, that's not true. I knew a guy that had the family, the kids, the wife, and still ended his life, or such and such. I get that. I do think there's something deeper to it. I think suicide's a very deep thing. I myself have been suicidal. I'm not in the position anymore right now that I am, and I'm not medicated right now. I don't think medication is really the right answer either. That's another video though. That's another topic for another day. But my position is that suicide is not selfish. I don't understand how it can be selfish, and I don't understand why people claim that it is. For me, suicide is not even necessarily the wrong answer. People say it's the wrong answer. It's not the right, or they say it's not the right answer. They don't even say it's the wrong answer. What people do is they say it's not the right answer. So they are pre-assuming that we believe that it is the right answer to all the problems, and they negate that by saying, well, it's not the right answer. They don't actively say it's the wrong answer, because you can't say that. By the way, disclaimer, I'm not at all saying any of these things to encourage suicide in anyone. I would never do that. That's not my bag. And I certainly don't want anyone to do that to themselves. I don't wish anyone to do that. And if you are feeling suicidal, I'm in full support of your recovery. Please go and speak to the professionals or someone that you trust. I'll leave the phone numbers in the comment section. Bearing in mind I'm in the UK, so these numbers will only work for UK numbers, but I will try and leave some US numbers as well. Okay, so I mean, I think overall the point is, I don't believe suicide is selfish, because it's not selfish to feel depressed. We don't get a choice in the matter necessarily. You know, I think when you feel suicidal, you feel hopeless, you feel like there's no future. I have been suicidal for a while. I've attempted my life numerous times in the last 6 months, and the last one fairly recently. And, you know, I think it's largely a situational thing, bearing in mind everyone has their own situations in life and everyone has their own reasons for feeling the way they do. But I don't think suicide is necessarily this selfish thing. I think it's a weird statement to make. So this channel is kind of taking a bit of a different turn because of what I've been going through recently. I'm deciding to take a little bit of a different twist on the things that I want to talk about on this channel, and it's going to be taking a mental health sort of spin on itself. So, you know, I'm not a pantomime. I'll always just make something and speak about something in my organic and natural thought processes without trying to say something I don't believe in. I'll always be honest. That's my position on it anyway. So, but you know, I'm happy to be wrong. If anyone else has got an interjection to that, please don't hesitate to post a comment and give me your opinions, because they're valued. They are, just like you are. You're valued. Thanks for watching, guys, and